How's it going, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to take a look at Lady Inerva Darkvein from Castle Nathria on normal and heroic difficulty from a tank's perspective. Now it must be said that this boss hurts and carries a fair amount of responsibility for the tanks in some scenarios and comps. I'm going to tell you how we handle this fight and what you need to look out for. It's important to note that the first canister that will be active in this fight will be the canister that buffs the boss's tank swap ability, and as the canister fills it becomes more lethal. It's mainly DPS slash ranged priority for canisters, but it can't hurt to know what will affect you early on and possibly later on in the fight. Jumping straight into the pull, the first thing you want to do is position the boss at the very edge of her balcony on the line between the rest of the encounter space. I'll explain why shortly. For us tanks to manage, we have an ability called Expose Desired, which is empowered by the first canister the boss starts rapidly filling in the encounter. This ability hits for a fair amount of damage, but the danger lies in its stacking dot effect Warp Desires, which deals about 6k shadow damage every 3 seconds for 21 seconds. Now, we taunt this ability on 2 stacks at all times, as 12k damage every 3 seconds is highly demanding on healers, and there's already enough healing going out in this fight, trust me. 2 stacks also works really well with a couple of the tank swap mechanics that you're going to be dealing with throughout the fight. Now, this ability will be empowered for every 33% of the canister that is filled, so it's the first canister. Mind you, at this stage the first 25% of the boss's health tends to burn rather fast, but that's dependent on your rage damage output, and if you're met with the empowerments, here's how to handle them. At 33% of the first canister, the boss will gain Exposed Cognition, which deals more demanding amounts of damage on the tank, but also grants the tank and a nearby ally a debuff called Shared Cognition. This effect will mirror any damage on the affected tank to a random nearby ally or a random raid member. So basically, as long as you stick to the 2 stat rule and keep your active mitigation up, you should be fine. Just make sure that you're not taking the full brunt of it, because the DPS is also taking that damage and the healing's already demanding enough in this fight. At 66% on the first canister, the boss will gain Exposed Heart, which means that whenever your Exposed Desires debuff runs out, you have to run away with an AoE circle around your character. The damage falls off with distance and can be detonated behind the boss to the edge of the balcony. Speaking of ads, let's talk about our role to play when the ads actually join the fight. The boss will cast an ability called Lightly Concentrated Anima at first, which will place a big red circle on 2 players in the raid team, one with the yellow arrow above the head and one with the red arrow. To make this easier, we have the 2 targeted players run behind the boss relatively close to us while still staying out of the AoE circle that they're actually giving off. And the player with the yellow arrow will spawn a small ad that just needs to be interrupted and nuked down. However, the player with the red arrow will spawn a bigger ad called a Harness Spectre, which needs to be taunted and have a tank within its melee range at all times, otherwise it'll cast and do heinous amounts of AoE damage to the raid. As tanks, that's all we have to do with that ad, ensuring that it's dead before you move back to your position with the boss. While this is going on though, make sure you're still taunt swapping on 2 stacks between the Spectre and the boss. Now, these ads actually get empowered with the last canister, so at 33% of the last canister filled, this ability will become Concentrated Anima, and the targets of the spell will be rooted in place. So if the player with the red mark is unable to move, it's our job to reposition the boss near that ad so that we can kill it, and also bring the boss's HP down at the same time, because this fight really can be a tight DPS check. However, if the player manages to move, then you'll just tank the ad on where the markers are, as you did previously. At 66%, the ads will send out a nasty little AoE when they spawn. Just give them a little space to spawn, and then make sure one of the tanks picks up the big ad once again and then just start focusing the boss basically. Because when it's at 66%, you don't have that much longer until the boss enrages and pretty much wipes your raid. So just make sure that you are focusing down the boss and only prioritise the big ad if you're going to get a second big ad, and it's going to be somewhere else across the room because they need to be tanked, both of them. So that's about it for Lady Inerva Darkvein on normal and heroic, guys. Thank you very much for watching. If you found the video helpful or insightful, then please do drop a like, and if you'd like to see more tank guides, please consider subscribing. Hope you have a great day, and I will hopefully see you in the next one.